by decree of the President of the Republic of France and the Order of the Cross from the President of Estonia. His most recent books are The Ages of Globalization, Geography, Technology, and Institutions, and Ethics in Action for Sustainable Development. So with that, I want to warmly welcome Jeff Sachs and turn it over to you, Jeff, and love to hear your thoughts.
Jill, thank you so much. Thanks to everybody for house. This is the bottom line, and I'm going to do whatever I can to help you get there, because we really need you there. And this has been actually a pretty tough week. On my campus at Columbia, we had the police really take over the campus. They knocked students around. We heard today that one of them let off a shot inside as they were taking students, arresting students, taking them into custody. It was a terrible week, unforgivable. Unforgivable for a university president to call the NYPD twice for students just exercising their rights to speech and to protest, but more than that, for being on absolutely the right side of this issue, because they were protesting the mass slaughter that is taking place, that Israel is committing, I should say, in Gaza. And so it was a really unforgivable week. But Jill, the terrible nature of this was compounded by our political class in Washington, which is just egging on all of this brutal crackdown on voices calling for justice in this country. And it just goes from bad to worse. Bad is our president, President Biden, who, after everything, when he was asked, well, are you listening to the protesters? Is it changing your view? And we should understand, what is that view? That view is not just that we're watching a genocide. That view is American complicity in a genocide. We are providing the munitions, the arms. We're making it possible hour by hour, day to day. So when Biden was asked, well, is these protests changing your view? He had one word, no. And then he walked away from the podium. Many of you, no doubt, saw that. It turns my stomach, actually. First, the substance of it turns my stomach, because how can it be that because I knew what I was talking about? They don't worry because I don't know what they think. But anyway, now we have a full raging war. President Macron of France, who gave me the Legion of Honor, and I'm wondering, oh my God, he's now talking, well, we're going to move NATO troops into Ukraine. Do we really want to have World War III in Ukraine? So that's one issue where I see complete lack of U.S. leadership, sense drift. Then comes this horrific genocide in Gaza, and it is completely unforgivable. I started going to Israel 52 years ago. I heard even 52 years ago in my first trip, 1972, after graduating high school, that Israel was going to put facts on the ground with the settlements in the occupied territories. And I thought, that's a little strange. It's against international law. Well, they have been doing this for decades, and all backed by the United States. And now with a full-fledged massacre underway, what we hear from the United States government every day is no conditions, no red lines to billions of dollars of American armaments and munitions. Now, the official count is 35,000 dead in Gaza, 70% women and children. But I'm talking to a lot of people who are saying very knowledgeably there are thousands more dead under the rubble whose deaths have not yet been counted, and tens of thousands of people who are dying of hunger, of lack of access to fresh water, of the destruction of the hospitals, which has been a systematic part of Israel's criminal military action. Now, here's another point, just to mention, I'm in touch with diplomats across the Arab world. I meet them regularly. I meet foreign ministers very frequently from the region. They are ready for peace on a just basis. So this is not that Israel's got its back to the wall and it's going to be destroyed. This is absolutely wrong. This is a situation that we could turn to peace in a day if the United States didn't continue to arm Israel and give Israel impunity to continue to commit this slaughter. Well, now on top of all of this, just to add to our cheer on a Friday night, the United States stoking a conflict with China. This has to be the dumbest, most dangerous, most provocative set of measures I know. I go to China all the time. I have a lot of students who are now senior officials. I know the leadership. China does not want a war. China does not want to attack the United States. China does not want to have any trouble. Thank you. China would like to have economic development. We are surrounding China just like the NATO enlargement in Europe. We're surrounding China everywhere. We get in the Prime Minister of Japan, the Prime Minister of Korea, we President of the Philippines, Prime Minister of Australia, all to trash talk China, badmouth China, and bolster military forces around China's perimeter. We have troops on the ground right now in Taiwan in complete violation of the One China policy, which is the bedrock of our diplomacy with China, or is supposed to be. But Biden has no limits